Hey, what's going on, guys? Victor here from Cyborg for Life. So a question that I get asked all the time is, what is the pain of the leg lengthening surgery like? You know, people are either curious about it, worried about it, or they just don't know what to expect. So we're going to talk about that today, okay? The most common questions that I get asked are, how bad is the pain? What can you compare it to? Does it hurt more at the site of the break, or does it radiate? Does it hurt more after distraction, physical therapy, or when you're moving around? And then finally, how do you manage this pain? How do you make it more tolerable during the process of your leg lengthening? Okay, so there's two things you got to know before we start, and that is, pain is a very individual thing. It's going to vary from person to person, right? So there's people who have a super high tolerance of pain, and you have people who, if they, stub their toe, they're going to be little crybabies, okay? So there's that spectrum of pain tolerance, okay? And the other thing you got to know is that the leg lengthening surgery pain kind of happens in phases. You have phase where right after surgery is going to be really, really painful, and you're like, oh my gosh, this hurts, to a pain where it's not so painful, and you're like, okay, I can manage this, to a phase where it's like, did I even have the surgery done? I don't hurt at all, okay? So how bad does the pain hurt? Well, the first 3 days, it's going to be super painful. You can ask almost anyone who has had this surgery done, it's going to be painful. When you first get out, and I think that's due to the contrast of going into the surgery, with no pain, and then you're going to wake up from anesthesia after the surgery with broken legs. I mean, just let that sink in for a second, because typically when you break your leg or get in an accident or something like that, your body kind of has time to adapt. It can release endorphins, which are these natural painkillers, and kind of block the pain signals for a little bit. But when you wake up from the surgery, the leg lengthening surgery, you literally have had your legs broken, not to mention, metal hardware implanted into you, and you became a cyborg. So that contrast can hurt quite a bit, okay? I mean, just think of it. It's like, when you're like, I guess you can kind of compare it to jumping in a pool of cold water, okay? You kind of know what to expect. You're getting into cold water versus getting a bucket of ice cold water thrown on you from behind, okay, unknowingly. So times 1,000, because you have your legs broken, okay? So that's kind of like, you need to expect that when you're getting into this. But like I said, the first 3 days, pretty darn bad. Even with an epidural anesthetic and PCA, which is like, patient-controlled anesthetic. So it's like that slow drip of cloud 9 pain meds that feels really, really good for about 30 minutes before the pain comes back. Yeah, that. Even with that, you're gonna be still in some pain, okay? And then, slowly before you leave on day 3, they're gonna wean you off and put you on some sort of oral pain meds like Percocet or something like that. But the pain is still gonna be there for the first week. When you get back home after day 3, most of the pain is going to come from the osteotomy site, which is like where the break happened. But we're human. We have these nerves that carry pain signals up and down our legs, right? So I did notice, me personally, that there was some sort of throbbing in my tibia, the leg that I had done. But it did subside after, about week 1 or 2 when when we started lengthening, which is, you start lengthening like after about a week, okay? So that's one of the big things you got to know, is that, it's still going to hurt for up to week 1. After week 2, there's a huge pain drop off, okay? I noticed that I stopped taking pain meds after week 2. And so if you can make it to that point, you're good to go, okay? Does it hurt after distraction? That's a question that I get asked a lot. And the answer is no. Not right after distraction. Not like when you're doing it, it doesn't hurt like, oh my gosh, I'm stretching my bone. No, I think it's more so later in the day when your muscles and soft tissue kind of respond to what happened. So, later on, I might feel a little tugging and tautness in that area. And this is really true for when you're getting closer to your height goal. So let's say, you're getting closer to like 5 centimeters on the tibia or 8 centimeters on the femur. You're going to notice that, yeah, that's a lot of length and stretching out the muscles. But at this point, you're not going to feel so much the bone pain. You're going to feel more of the soft tissue pain, okay? All right. During physical therapy, yeah, it hurts. I'm not gonna lie, but it's mainly due to the range of motion and stiffness in your muscles and joints. Okay, it's not so much the bone. Okay, the bone, like I said, after the first 2 weeks, you don't really feel that as much anymore. It's more the soft tissue and the range of motion. Okay, and moving around, you can be in pain, but you just need to take it slow. I always tell people who get the surgery done to take your normal moving speed and move about half as fast, or even 3/4 as fast, because you don't want to cause any jarring or jerking motion that can cause the screws or rods to break, or if you have an external fixator, to kind of get a tug on something and you torque your bone and cause a fracture. You don't want any of that. So just take your time when you're moving around, doing your physical therapy exercises. Be slow about it. This is a long process. There's no rush, okay? Yeah, so how do you manage the pain, okay? For me, like I said, first 2 weeks, I was off pain meds by the end of 2 weeks. You can take them all the way through distraction if you want, but again, you probably won't need to after the first 2-3 weeks. The one thing that I did do, this is one of my secrets, guys. Okay, so my doctor, she molded a cast of my leg, okay, so that I could wear it at night or when I'm taking a nap or something, so that I didn't cause, too much excessive rotation and cause, the rod or screws to, cause any type of pain during my distraction. Well, after week 2, I noticed, okay, I still have some swelling in my leg. So I put this thing on during, naps or sleep, and I noticed that when I would wake up, I would take it off and the swelling was down, but the pain also went down, way down, okay? So this is one of my secrets. I literally put this cast on. So see if your doctor, if you get this done, can make you a mold of your leg, okay? Your femur and your tibia. It's gonna be like a whole leg cast. So you can do this. Now this only works for the internal nail methods, but see if they can make you a cast. You Velcro it up and you keep it on after the first 2 weeks. I usually recommend this to keep you from not only moving during sleep too much, but also reduce the swelling and reduce your pain. I promise you that this turned this surgery process of, oh, this hurts, quite a bit, to, to being, from being uncomfortable to being just a waiting game and saying, let me get through distraction, heal my leg, and I'm good to go. Okay, so this leg cast thing was a life changer. Okay, all right. So if you can do that, that's a huge way to manage the pain. Is pain meds. You can take them through distraction, but you won't need to after week 2. But the molded cast thing, huge game changer. Okay. Now, 2 other things I want to address is that obviously we all know that internal nail methods are going to be a little less painful, or a lot less painful than an external fixator, because I had one of those done too on my right femur for when I was younger. It wasn't leg lengthening; it was just a broken leg. And that hurt pretty bad. I remember I was young, but that hurt pretty bad. Whereas the precise nail, after the first 2 weeks, just a waiting game. Okay. All right. And then the other thing is that if you get too much length, guys, if you can cause yourself chronic pain. So don't transfer your mental pain of wanting to get taller for physical pain. Okay. Never, like I said in the last video, never ever risk your health or safety for additional height. It is not worth it. Okay. You can get chronic complications that you do not want. Okay. So sit down with your experienced surgeon and ask them, hey doc, how much height can I gain without causing myself permanent problems? Okay. And hopefully if they're good, they will tell you this based on your flexibility and range of motion. If you're super flexible, you may be able to get more than an average person. If you're not, or if you're average, you stay within the safety parameters. Okay. All right. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I have for you guys in terms of the pain of the leg lengthening surgery. I hope all my rambling wasn't too painful for you to listen to. But anyway, if you found the video helpful, go ahead and hit that like button. Be sure to help me out. Go ahead and subscribe. We're going to have more videos come your way. And until next time, this is Victor from Cyborg for Life, signing out.